Hello again! Some things have changed since the end of the last video. I am ashamed. I changed out the granite for polished diorite. Andesite. Polished andesite. And you know what, I'm making myself feel a little bit better by saying that this is still a new block. Polished andesite slabs were not a thing in 1.13, so it is technically still a new block. But I couldn't figure anything out for the central column, and I really do like the spruce. So the andesite works much better. We're going to stick with that, and we're going to work it out and work it into the rest of this. Are there things that have changed? I've planted a lot of trees, because we're going to need a lot of spruce. Not just for this, but for what we're going to be doing today as well. Before we get to what we're doing today, I want to show you guys something. I've been bad. I'm procrastinating like you wouldn't believe. I'm supposed to be working on assignments, but a friend of mine, Straw Hat, is actually sitting at the same table as I am, and we're just playing Minecraft. We've been playing Minecraft for an hour or two now. We went exploring. First we went to a nether fortress. We had to find one first because they are not very common in our nether spawn. But we found, I think all of this was in that endeavor. I actually have another golden horse armor, another saddle that's on a horse. Because when we came back from that exploration, we went and we tamed ourselves some decent horses. And there he is, way in the distance. And when we got back from taming horses, we went on an adventure. We took our horses and we traveled about... oh dear. Well, are you guys in for a quick little fight? Straw Hat? He's keen, he's nodding. We're gonna fight a couple of pillagers real quick. Because pillagers spawned right outside the entrance to our little base here. We need to deal with them. Are you coming, Straw Hat? I see Straw Hat. Where'd the pillagers go? They were... oh, no. There they are. They're going up the mountain. Let's go and deal with them real quick. Luckily, neither of us have any intentions of going into a village anytime soon, so... there we go! Thank you. There's another one? Oh. Whoops. I tried to predict where it was gonna go, and then Straw Hat intervened. Well, that was an exciting little, quick little fact. Anyway, we went for a very long adventure on our horses, and we actually went to one of the other players, Tabletop Home's base at the moment. I believe it's a base. It's pretty much an iron farm. Interesting iron farm, 1.14 iron farm. Because Straw Hat is planning on building a super smelter. Actually to Wells Knight's design, I believe. And he's going to be doing that over there in the distance, while we are going to be doing some building of our own. We're going to build it over here. I already have a chest with some materials ready. This isn't all the materials we're going to be using. I'm probably going to need quite a bit more stone. Look at that, stone stairs. I'm super excited to use these, because we're going to be expanding the village a little. He's going to be building an additional building, and I'm going to be building an additional building. Because this is someone's horse. I don't know whose horse this is. Our horses are currently chilling in here with the sheep. The one in the iron armor is his, and the golden armor is mine. And they need a proper home. We can't just leave them with the sheep. So I'm going to be building stables today. And you guys can enjoy watching me do it. So that's not quite all the materials we're going to be needing. Where's the chest? It's up there. And I need to do a little bit of terraforming around here. So I'm gonna get that done real quick, and then as soon as I'm done, I'll bring you guys back in a jiffy. So this is where we're gonna be building. Just want to show you guys something real quick. We're not playing completely vanilla. There are some mods to this. And one of them is a vein mining mod. Ooh, that's satisfying. That's super satisfying. Anyway, yeah, so this is where we're going to be building. Now, what I'm thinking for this little build of ours is that it's going to be a fairly large structure. I want to have a loft space. That's probably where we're going to be storing some hay bales, and I've got wheat growing up, and there's a whole bunch of wheat over there that we can go and harvest and use for this. I've got some more smooth stone smelted up because I want to use a similar roof style to this ultimately. But I'm thinking we're gonna go with a fairly average kind of barn design. And I want to leave some room in between here because I imagine a road coming through here in the future. So how about we leave 3 spaces for doors? Let's go 5. Because horses do need more space to come through. At the very least 2. And I'd like a center point. So we're gonna have 3 spaces here, and then we're gonna do a little bit of something to make it look like 2 large barn doors that are just standing ajar. And then a little bit more planning. I want 2 edges, 2 sides to this. 2 alleys where horses can be stored. Maybe some donkeys. One of the sections could be for tools or something. So we're gonna leave some space for that, and I'm thinking, because if this is gonna be an interior wall sitting right here, maybe we do larger columns than just these. This is going to be a big structure. I don't know if the scale's gonna be that big though. Let's go 2, like this, because then we can start our interior walls from here going this way, and from here coming this way. And that creates a little bit of depth. So then we want to leave some space. So if that's a wall along that line, we want 1, 2, 3, I'm thinking 4 spaces for the horses. That leaves us with 3 here. That's great. Are we now only going to have 3? Yeah, because if I do an interior wall here, only 3 spaces for the horses. Might be a little cramped, especially considering we're going for a slightly larger design here. Yeah, I think that's going to be just a little bit too cramped, so let's jut it out 1. And that's ultimately that's fine. Whatever we do on the one side, we're going to be repeating on the other, so we're still going to have a center point. It's still going to end up being an uneven number. So I believe we want to go out 4. Let's just come and count and double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Indeed. So we're going to come out to here and do our corner. Alright, just like that. So here is going to be our main entrance. Alleyways on either side. I am so sorry for that. That is my mother's dog. Hopefully now we'll have some peace and quiet. So, interior wall is going to remain here. So let's go 1, 2, 3. Let's stick with 4, I think, and then this, there will be a wall running through here, so you won't necessarily see this guy on the inside. We might put one over here, and potentially another one over here. Right, so this will be the stable. We'll have some just fences over here dividing 2 stalls from one another, I think. Do we want you here? Yes, I think that's a good place for that one to be. So let's go, that was 4 out. Let's go 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do the same thing here. And I think 1 more out. That's only 3. I need to learn to count. So this basically gonna be one side. It's going to be a very linear kind of building. It's going to be interesting. I might do something up on the roof. I'm actually thinking that we'll put the loft only on one side, so that it's not completely symmetrical. Because that's going to be boring, especially for something that's going to take up quite as large a footprint as this building is. In a village where everything else so far is a little smaller. He's making good progress. Anyway, so let's repeat that on this side. Okay, so I've got all the columns put out, and this is basically going to be the ground floor, right? Each of these little alcoves is going to be a stall for the horses. You will note that it's not symmetrical at the back either. It's one stall less, and that's because of the landscape. I did do a little bit of terraforming, pulling this ground out and covering up a little underground, or a little pond. But I didn't want to do too much, and I thought, you know what, let's take some encouragement from that. So this side has an extra stall that the other side doesn't, and I think that leaves us with a perfect opportunity to make everything to the left of that column the second story. So there will only be a loft above this row of stalls, not above this one. And I think that will make it nice and unsymmetrical from the front and from the back as well, and it's not just one big square footprint anymore because we've got this little piece that juts out now. Next, they've kind of stuck with an oaky feel around here. I do believe that Straw Hat's going to go with a different thing to cover up the super smelter over there, but I want to kind of stick with these colors. Now I'm already differing from them by using spruce logs, but Nookie used spruce logs way up there with her AFK fishing hut. But for the rest, I think I'll stick to oak as wall infills. Now primarily, I think I'm going to use oak planks to fill in the walls initially, and then I'll come in and do some texture variation with the stripped oak logs afterwards. Because yeah, these look okay, but they do look like starter houses, and I want to start bringing in a bit of differentiation in the village. So that's where these spruce logs comes in. Where the heck is... Oh, he's digging. He's swimming. Interesting. I just saw his name floating by there and I was very confused. I want to start bringing in some texture differentiation throughout the village, using different blocks. Eventually we might use spruce for walls instead of oak. Just so that the whole village isn't just one color, it isn't completely monotonous. And they've even started doing this in the regular 1.14 villages, which I think is great, but not quite enough of it, if you ask me. So here we'll probably put another one of these so that from the outside you can also see it. This needs to be a corner piece, not one of these. So how do they work again? They are in line with this. This might be a little interesting. Let's just see here. How many blocks are in between these? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, now it's... This guy should still be in the right place if we just get rid of that. And place that over there. Yeah, I think that's right. But now we can fill in the rest of this. And from the outside then that isn't flat, which is always crucial. Sleep time. Okay, I'm gonna go grab some shut-eye and finish filling in some of these walls, that should be that for the loft's final floor level, I think. I've done quite a bit, and I think it's starting to look like something. Taking shape. So, up next, we need to kind of figure out how tall this loft space is going to be. And I'm not really sure. I'm thinking that the loft space probably needs to be fairly tall, so that, you know, you can work tools up here. Maybe get a fork? A pitchfork? Pitchfork, that's the word. A pitchfork going, you know, lift hay bales and things. So we'd probably... Ooh! There's stone brick happening on that side. Anyway, so we're probably going to want to go fairly tall. My word, there are a lot of chickens around. And it is entirely my fault. So... maybe 4 tall? 4 tall is pretty tall. I mean, that's twice as tall as a person. That's probably around 4 meters, and this side will be a bit taller because the roof will slope up and down again, I think. So 4... yeah, I think 4 for the lowest side. Sounds like a pretty good idea. I will do the exterior at some point. For now, let's just stick to getting the interior columns in. One more. And I don't really know what I'm gonna do in terms of wall detailing and things yet. But let's talk about downstairs a little bit more. So what we have here so far is 6 little stalls, right? And we're gonna detail them and make them pretty. And on the outside I'm trying to keep with the 2 tall windows that they have. Ooh, those are 3 tall. I don't have room for 3 tall. Anyway, 2 tall I think is perfectly fine, and they look a little bit taller because of the stairs that I've added. I think it's fine. I don't know yet whether we're going to put glass in here. Like all the other buildings are, well, that building primarily makes use of glass, but horses need openings. They need to be able to breathe. So we might just put fences in there and shutters on the outside. But yeah, in here, these are going to separate them. Let's actually grab some fences real quickly. I don't have any fences with me. Shocking. Let's make some fences. I do not need to turn a whole stack into wood. Might be a little bit overkill. Do that. That. Fences. Great. So what I'm thinking here is that we use fences on top of this, like so. And then we also need, we're going to use all of these. Let's take half of this stack. Perfect amount. This isn't going to be enough though. We will need more. But I'm thinking, side view, please work. Yep. There we go. You can come through, and the horse can go through that. Easy. I think that's how we separate our stalls. Yeah, it's pretty nice. This side doesn't have the beams running across this way because I don't yet know exactly what I'm going to be doing with the roof there. But we'll get there, eventually. I'll fill everything else in, all the big filling in of volumes. Between clips, but for now let's look at this. I need to build this staircase up a bit, and I'm thinking that this will probably, I'm going to make all of these come up all the way up to the roof. think it's a nice little element of verticality that as you walk in from here, it's like, ooh, vertical. Look up into the roof. A little line to draw your eyes. Then you can put some of these over here. Let's just run one of these across here. I think that's fine. This backspace is not going to be a stall, so we're only going to have 6 stalls in total. I'm sorry for that 1/7 player who doesn't get a stall, but this I think is going to be the tool storage area where you store saddles and reins and all the other horsing equipment. I'm not a horse person. I love horses, but I don't know the terminology, so I don't actually know what any of this stuff would be. Also, I'm thinking that this side will close it off a little bit. Something like that. Actually, I want to try something real quick, but let's try it over here. What does... Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. What does that look like? Yeah, I like that. I think the stripped logs look a little bit... It gives a little bit of contrast between this and ties these a bit more... ties them together a bit better, I think. Yeah. I think we'll use stripped logs for this. And then, if we use stripped logs for those, we can strip these as well, and then they don't look quite so out of place, because that looked really bulky and awkward. But I think the stripped logs work much better. Aside from that, though, I think I'm going to fill in the rest now, and I'll bring you guys back once I've done that. And I filled in the walls, and this thing is starting to look absolutely massive. It is huge in comparison to what's around here so far, but this super smelter that Straw Hat's building is kind of becoming a factory in itself, so this might also be quite a large building. I'm hoping that the scale then isn't too disproportionate to everything else that's around here. But now we get to a part that's going to be a bit more fun, I think, and that's putting in the roof. So from this side, I'm thinking that this roof isn't going to be a very steep pitch. Not like these that start out fairly shallow and then up, 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 up. They just keep getting steeper. I think this side will probably be a fairly shallow pitch. And for that, slabs will be my go-to block. Just get a building block that I will be able to differentiate easily enough to get rid of. So let's get up here. I want to do this part of the roof first, so I know what to do on the interior of it. So let's go ahead and put this whole string of things in here. And then I'm thinking we just go up half a slab the whole time. So it's a fairly gradual slope, but not incredibly so. Let's have a look at that from down here. Yeah, I think that gives us enough space that this roof and the top roof won't necessarily intersect. Although, yeah, let's just stick with that. We'll use this one. I do, however, if I use the right tool, this will go much better. I do think, however, that it needs to come out one. That this isn't going to work. That positioning of it. On the side, yeah, definitely also needs to come out one. In that case, how about we do something like this. Because I don't necessarily want you to see the spruce roof that's going to go on top of this. So let's bring this guy out. Whoops, that's a mistake. Oh, thank goodness it comes back as a stone slab and not something different. Because then we come in here and we remove this layer. This will then be spruce. This guy, however, if we move this one forward, it might get a bit close to that roof. So I'm rethinking what I just said here, in that I think we're gonna elongate this one a little bit. Even less of a steep slope. Down. Make sure I get all my blocks. Let's run this way. Yeah, I think that slope is fine. I kind of prefer this one. I do, however, want to bring this one out by one as well. There. That one. And then we just make it go there. I'm hoping Straw Hat will go and sleep real quick. Because then I can just keep going uninterrupted. Yay! There we go. Prayers were answered. Gather up all my blocks. So this will likely be spruce. We might... Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's... Do I have? Yep, I have some more of these. Let's give it a little bit of additional depth, like this. Yeah, I like that. Maybe that should be oak instead. Yeah, let's try the oak real quick. While I have your attention. Oak slabs. I think this will work nicely with oak instead. There we go. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that very much. Let's grab our oak again. As for the roof itself in here, whoops, I just don't know what tools to use today. This stretch of roof I'm thinking is going to be spruce. Now I would like to be able to do that, but I can't place them over here, which is problematic. That's going to be problematic in general for us. Ooh. How are we going to get around that? Okay, I have an idea. Let's try this. Let's give ourselves a nice fat edge instead, because then these slabs aren't going to interfere with what I want to do here. And I would like this to be set down a little bit from that. Yeah. This, I think, will work very nicely. This guy... Let's leave the gap there and see what it looks like on the inside. If we don't like it at all, once this whole roof is in, then I'll do something different with it. Yeah, I think that roof will be plenty interesting now. I'm just gonna come and hijack... Is there a place I can get up? Yep. Yeah, I think that'll look nice. And it's a little bit different than what's happening over here, in that we're not using cobblestone, we're not using the oak logs. So, I like where this is going. Let me fill in the rest of this piece of roof, and then I'll bring you back to design the other one.